Hello, welcome back to Unity. We are here on location at Mission Columbus Medical Care, and I have my guest with me today. Like I said, we got so many things going on in this city, and we're doing our networking group, and we have a wonderful man that me and my photographer, to me, he is one of the best in the world, Greg Grice. We captured this man at FraserNet. It took us a while, but he is here. He is attorney Jock Smith. He is a national book author. I'm going to hold it up so you can see it on TV. Climbing Jacob's Ladder. And he is Jock M. Smith, a national attorney from the Cochran Group. Want to go ahead and say welcome to Unity.
Thank you, Pam. I appreciate you inviting me here to Columbus to share a few moments with you.
You know, as I was reading your book and the pitfalls, you definitely push hard work and faith is what took you through. You went through Jacob's Ladder. You talked about the assassination of your father, if it's okay to say it that way.
Sure.
And he was such a vocal attorney in New York, which I know that laid the foundation for you. What made you want to write this book and put those ups and those downs and using the irony of a ladder to be symbolic of what you went through?
Well, I wanted to chronicle my father's life. Jacob Smith, first African-American lawyer to ever have a law office in Manhattan, shot and assassinated in his office for what he believed in April 24th, 1957. I wanted to create a record of that so people would know who he was. And then what my life was after that, what I went through in the streets of New York, and until 8 years later when a teacher told me I had a gift to speak in a public speaking course, and that opened up a window of opportunity for my movement up the ladder. The reason we entitled the book Climbing Jacob's Ladder, because that was the name of my father. And the ladder, of course, symbolizing, an effort that you have to make one step at a time to be able to meet the challenges of life. So it all made sense. And also the original meaning of the word Jacob was protector. My father was my early protector. Of course, he looked over me, watched over me, and I think I learned more from him in 8 years than most people learn from their fathers in 50 or 60 years.
You also talked about, the closeness, because a lot of people need to understand the importance of a male figure in your child's life. His father really sewed into his life, played baseball together, and the teachings that you got also helped further you into your family. Talk about that as well.
That's so true. I mean, the first basketball I ever shot was a peach basket. My father knocked the bottom of the basket out, and we shot the basketball up under the street light. And so that's how I learned how to play basketball. He took me to Ebbets Field to see Jackie Robinson, and shortly after the integration of baseball in April of 47. Of course, I was born in 48. We started going to the ballpark when I was 5 or 6 years old. Then we go to the Polo Grounds to see Willie Mays. So we saw the great Willie Mays in New York before the Giants trekked to the city by the bay. And we saw Jackie and Campy and the Duke. We saw the unfolding of a community that was becoming integrated through baseball, through sport, sport being life in microcosm. My father would point down to those people and say, "Son, Jackie Robinson's a pioneer. This is the kind of person I want you to be like. Follow in the footsteps of people like that. Know your craft. Be excellent in what you do. And always be thoughtful in your ways." So a lot of that he instilled in me to achieve, to go on, and to make a difference in the lives of others. And that's what's really important, that we serve other people.
You went from New York, and then you migrated down here to the South. And you went to Tuskegee, because in your book it talks a lot of different history people and different Tuskegee Airmen and different peoples like that. But what was it like transitioning from New York to the South?
Well, that was an interesting transition, because you watch on TV in New York, I saw Bull Connor and all the police dogs in Birmingham, and I told my friends I was going to Alabama. They said, "L.A.?" I said, "Not L.A., L.A., not Los Angeles, Alabama," as in Montgomery. I was in Tuskegee. But it was a frightening experience at first. But actually, when I got down here, I had people were very friendly. I noticed people were more friendly in the South than they were in the North. There wasn't a uptight atmosphere down here. It created a great learning environment for me at Tuskegee, and gave me a chance to find my way. And sometimes we need an opportunity to find our way. God, He's a great way maker. Sometimes He plans our destiny. We don't even know it. We think we're supposed to be at a certain place, but yet we're supposed to be somewhere else. And so I ended up clicking down here, and became student body vice president. My classmates were Tom Joyner and Lionel Richie.
Wow.
Of course, so I always say that, I am third in more, more respects than one. But, I found my way down here, and I found my 4 years at Tuskegee in college to be 4 of the greatest years of my life. Law school wasn't as much fun as undergraduate school was. It was just, I loved history. I was a history major in philosophy. Got a chance to read all the authors. The Vietnam marches were going on. I led the student protest march movement in Tuskegee. I was constantly reading all of Malcolm's works, Dr. King, Marcus Garvey, W.B. Du Bois, of course, who was one of the founders of the NAACP, many, many others. I got a chance to get entrenched into the black intellectual side of who we are and the foundational propositions of who we are as a people. And that helped me in my career. Always when I met challenges, I was I had something to fall back on because I'd read all this stuff. And I still read it all today. I'm still reading. I find that just to be one of the most profitable ventures that you can undertake. It's just like Malcolm X said in the greatest speech he ever made in the Message to the Grassroots. The very first statement he made is that of all studies, history is the most qualified to reward all research. And I think that's true. If you read and you understand history, your research will be rewarded and your life will be more prosperous.
You went to Notre Dame. That's very top. And I commend you on that because I'm finally meeting somebody who went to Notre Dame. I've seen it on TV, but I've never actually met somebody who's went through that school. And you went through some hard times. And I was also reading in your book about a particular case where a man was accused of rape. And he was, since I do a Christian show, I can't repeat the things he said to you. But let's put it this way, it wasn't holy. Let's put it that way. But you wasn't pleased with him. You didn't know if you wanted to represent him. But somehow you stayed in there even when you had your doubts. What made you still continue on with this case? This man was being straight hateful.
He talked about the case of Donnell Williams versus the state of Alabama. Of course, I got appointed to that case by the court as a young lawyer, and Donnell Williams was hostile to the court. He was hostile to the judge and everybody. But he said he didn't commit the rape. And the reason I stayed in there, he was an African-American gentleman who was charged with raping a white lady, and it actually didn't occur. And we were able to get him cleared. It took some doing, though. It was probably one of the key cases in my early career. Around 79 or 80, I started practicing in 77. And I remember talking to that jury. It's amazing how you remember this stuff. I remember telling that jury in the end, well, ladies and gentlemen, he's been wrongly accused. We've all remembered the Scottsboro Boys case. Enough said. I looked in the eyes of that jury and said, enough said. And let's talk to some of the jurors afterwards and said, that's what won the case. When you reflected, had us reflect and lament about the Scottsboro Boys case, that brought our attention to the fact that this crime really hadn't been committed. And so they cut him loose. And that was the start of my career, of course, as a criminal lawyer, and then I went on to become a civil litigator, and the rest is history. But that was one of the early successes that I had as a lawyer in the courtroom.
Well, I want to tell y'all we're getting ready to go to commercial break, and then we're coming back to Unity with Pam on location at Mission Columbus Medical Care.